All right, welcome in to the next episode. Dude, what episode are we on of the HotSauceZee podcast? Dude, what episode are we on? Is this 17? Is this 17 right now? I think it is. We're at episode 17. So welcome in. So we're going to try something a little different today, I think. I think we're going to try and make the episodes a little bit shorter. Something I've been throwing around because, you know, as I'm kind of more consistently doing these weekly, I'm kind of running into issues of like, what do I talk about? And for myself, I'm experimenting quite a bit less right now. I am experimenting a lot with sensitivity and stuff, but like, I don't know, I hate to bore you guys with like a lot of the details of what I'm experimenting with on sensitivity. I'm going to still talk about them, of course. I mean, that's going to happen. I'm still going to talk about them. And I've been changing things all the time on stream if you've popped into some of the streams. But, you know, so that's still going to be in here. But I think I'm going to stop trying to push to try and hit that 45-minute mark, because I don't want to end up repeating and droning on about things that, you know, don't necessarily matter. I mean, they do matter, but I don't know. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Like, I just don't want to get into a point of like repeating myself too much. I say as I'm repeating myself a lot. So let's jump in. Let's move on. Let's hit some news of the week. We're just going to jump right into the notes here, and we're going to kind of see. We'll see where this episode ends up. I took a couple notes here on my phone of things I wanted to talk about. So let's just jump into the news. Of course, the big news, right, is that Microsoft purchased ZeniMax and Bethesda this past week. Huge, you know? And they purchased it in a huge blockbuster $7.5 billion deal. So they shelled out some coin to get this done. And I think, that's probably something they've been shooting to do for a while. You know, I mean, they've been aiming that way, surely. But I think it's interesting, you know, it kind of momentum kind of thing, as far as like what I see on Twitter and stuff, was like that PS5 showcase happened. We talked about it last week, and everybody was like, "Wah!" You know, like PlayStation's the shit. All these exclusives, and like, oh man, the new generation hasn't even happened, and PlayStation's already won it. You know, and then like Microsoft's just kind of quietly chilling off to the side, like, hey, I'll just wait and see. And then this week they're like, boom, we just bought Bethesda and all the titles that come along with that. So, you know, I mean, we got a lot of money and we're going to make some stuff happen. So now Xbox has got some pretty slick exclusives too, some popular ones. And it's going to be interesting to see how all of that progresses. But that was really big. And I've never played Fallout or all that on stream, but I think I've done it maybe like once. But I'm a pretty big Fallout fan. It's, of course, you know, I loved Legend of Zelda and all that kind of stuff when I was younger. Still love Legend of Zelda, by the way. Have not played Breath of the Wild. Definitely want to, but I don't want to buy a whole nother console to do it, so that's why I haven't done it. Anyways, love Legend of Zelda. I love all the adventuring and all that kind of stuff that you do in those games. And I also love FPS games. So you combine the two together, boom, you have Fallout. It's awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with the whole merger there. They said, what's his name? Todd Howard is still going to be in place. They're not getting rid of Todd Howard, which is great because everybody loves Todd Howard. I know, you know, everybody really digs the way that guy presents everything, the way he handles the brand and all of that is really good. So I'm glad that they're keeping Todd Howard. I think he's going to be a good addition to now the Microsoft teams. I mean, he already played along so well with them anyway. But yeah, I think that's obviously huge news, right? Obsidian and Bethesda are now under the same roof, owned by the same people again. So one of my favorite Fallouts of all time is Fallout New Vegas. And now that those two are back together again, sort of like not by choice, but just because they are now owned by the same person, New Vegas 2, man, I would be down. I'd be super down. It doesn't even have to be New Vegas 2, but like just another kind of like apocalyptic Western feeling kind of game from those studios that kind of emulates the feel of New Vegas would be all amazing, dude. Or I don't know, hell, just set it over there again. Make it New Vegas too. I don't know, man. I love New Vegas. It is one of my favorites for sure. Like, love that game. So it'd be super cool to see some kind of New Vegas, stuff happening again now that those two studios are back together under the same umbrella. Also, along with this merger, I mean, putting Bethesda in there with Microsoft now opens the door up to a whole ton of new possibilities, such as like, maybe a new engine for some Fallout games. Can you imagine Fallout and like one of the like badass, gorgeous engines? Like, I don't even know the names of them, dude. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. But like, the Forza engine or something like that. Like, I mean, and Fallout 4 like looks fine, right? Like, I think Fallout 4 definitely upped the game from what New Vegas and 3 were. Definitely. I mean, it looks miles better. But, I mean, it still looks and behaves kind of janky like a Fallout game does. So it's going to be really interesting to me, and I keep saying that, but that's because it is. It's huge news. Like, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with them moving under kind of the Microsoft roof. And I'm curious to see what they're going to be able to do and how the different directions they're going to be able to take the franchises. I am a little bothered by the fact that probably as a PC player, I'm going to have a subscription to Game Pass Ultimate in order to play these games on my PC. So, I mean, it being an Xbox exclusive, I'm pumped for Xbox. I'm an Xbox guy. Never was a PlayStation. Well, I can't say never. I can't say I never was. My first game console was a PlayStation 1. So I can't say I never was. But after the PlayStation 1, I went to GameCube, and then after the GameCube, I went to the Xbox 360 and have been an Xbox guy ever since. So I'm excited for Xbox to finally get access to some pretty heavy-hitting titles to be exclusives for them. Like, that's super neat. But the only downside is I just moved to PC this year, so yeah. I'm going to have to pay a subscription price probably in order to play future Fallout titles on my PC. And as we all know, everybody's starting to rack up these subscriptions. By the time you factor in, I mean, for me, myself, you factor in like Spotify, Netflix, Hulu, Funimation, because I like to watch Dragon Ball, EA Access, or whatever they're calling it now, EA Play, here on the PC. I mean, it's just boom, 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 boom. And then I've got to add Xbox Game Pass Ultimate on there. Like, subscriptions are starting to eat people's lunch, and it's just because they're everywhere, and that's kind of the business model now. But I don't want to harp on it too much, because actually Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is a phenomenal value. Like, they're really, really, really ramping that service up to be a phenomenal, awesome service, because there's so many games available, and for the amount of games that are available, and we're talking like AAA titles. AAA titles available on Game Pass for free, first day launch, Xbox, whatever, blah, 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 all the phenomenal stuff. And it's like, $14 a month. It's a great value, and they just keep adding more and more stuff. Like, this Bethesda deal is massive for Game Pass. I just don't even see how, just to go from where we were with like kind of the game service kind of thing to like, because like if you go back and you look at what Game Pass was at the beginning, it was like, okay, I mean, this is cool. Like, I have access to some titles because of Xbox Live or whatever, my gold service, but they're all kind of like, a couple of gems in there, a couple, indie kind of things that are pretty sweet. But now we're talking like, the Microsoft Studios games are just hitting that service. Like, that's just where they are. You pay that $14 a month, and you have access to them immediately. Now, I know, I'm not an idiot. Like, buying a game for $60 one time is if you're just interested in that one game, that you better go that route and not just pay $14.99 indefinitely to play it. Obviously, paying $60 once is a better deal, right? If you're just interested in that one game. But if you're interested in multiple titles, especially if you're kind of like, I'm going to play it and then I'm done with it, I'm never going to play it again. Those kinds of games, I mean, you can just hit those on Game Pass and just boom, play through them for week to 4 weeks or however long it takes you to beat a game, and then you're out, and you only paid a fraction of the cost. If you do it in a month, you paid a fraction of the cost to play that game. If you beat it faster, like if it's a shorter game, you paid even less if you break it down by week. So they just keep stuffing good deals into that. And I mean, PlayStation has got some bangers of an exclusive, right? I mean, it's got some badass exclusives. I would be lying if I said that I didn't want to be playing that Spider-Man game from the last generation, the PlayStation 4. That Spider-Man game looked awesome. The new one looks awesome. I'd love to play them. I just love swinging around on webs, man. That's like one of my favorite things to do is just sling around the city. But I mean, it's not enough to make me just want to go plunk down a ton of cash and buy their console, I mean, that's just not where I'm at. I mean, if I was a rich boy, like if my streams are like popping, dude, and we got that ad rev and them sponsorships and blah, 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 I mean, hell yeah, I'd go out there and buy that because that's just going to help me make better content for, the people that are here for the whole HotSauceZee thing. But as of right now, kind of a broke boy, so not gonna be going that route. But yeah, no, definitely. To kind of, how do we get here? The Bethesda deal, massive. All right, so let's jump back into things here. Let me look at my notes because I don't remember what I wrote down literally minutes ago. Battlefield 5 had an update this morning. Adam Freeman tweeted about it yesterday afternoon and said that there's no download required, so we're not even going to really notice it. It was back-end maintenance to servers and whatnot. They're just kind of doing some stuff on their end, which I'm really glad about because the servers have been crap for the last 3 weeks, and you can notice it. There's weird, like, no-reg issues, getting ping indicators over on this side of the screen, and all kinds of stuff. It's just they've been kind of like, just falling off, and I'm glad that they're going to be kind of jumping in there to fix that stuff up, hopefully. And I say hopefully because now I haven't played yet today, but I was looking through my Twitter feed, and some of the other Battlefield guys that I follow over on Twitter have played today, and they're saying actually that the frame drop and latency and ping indicators and all that stuff on the right side of the Battlefield 5 screen, on the right side of the HUD there, are even worse now, and the servers have gotten worse. So that seems about par for the course, right? And it has me concerned that maybe whatever they tried to fix in a typical 2018 to 2020 DICE fashion have made it even worse. And so, I'm a little concerned that Battlefield 5 is not going to be playable this afternoon whenever we get on the stream here in an hour and a half. I'm recording this right before my afternoon stream today, but I'm hoping that it's going to be playable. It was at least passable before, but if they've gone in there and mucked with things and it's now unplayable, I mean, what am I going to do, Because the stream's got to roll on, and I don't know, maybe try Battlefield 1 if maybe they just mucked up Battlefield 5. And if not that, then I guess I'm going to have to get on Warzone, and I really don't want to just get on Warzone. I don't like playing Warzone just solo. I get on there when friends of mine get on, but I don't like jumping on solo. I can't stand Warzone solos. Y'all know me. I don't like BRs all that much. So why would I jump into a battle royale by myself and play solos against a bunch of people that just sit in corners and houses and wait for me to walk in and shred me? It's not fun. Don't like it. Solos plays super campy, and that's just a meta thing. That's how it's going to go on a battle royale, because why wouldn't you just camp? Why wouldn't you just stay safe and kind of move with the circle? It's a viable way to win, you know? I mean, there's nothing that says you have to go out and get in gunfights. So I obviously get that argument against people that just sit in houses and solos, but it's so much bullshit to me when I walk into a house, you know, and I'm checking, I'm cautious because I know they do that, and still there's a guy like behind a stove or something, and it's just like, you know, as soon as I walk in, I'm like, dude, come on. So, I don't know. I'm hoping Battlefield 5 servers are going to be fine for my stream later. And, yeah. So, that's where we're at with that. I saw they also did some armory update kind of stuff, which is neat. The armory was needing an update, and there's Danny on PC said that there was a skin in there that he'd never seen before. So maybe they're still kind of like slowly leaking out some pieces for Battlefield 5 here and there. I mean, they've moved on from the game, and I'm going to say this, but they have moved on from the game, and this is not the case. But I kind of thought there for a little while that they pretty much said we're ending content support for the game, basically to finally lower our expectations to the point of what they could actually handle. That's kind of what I think happened when they said that, because, you know, since they canceled, you know, content support, we've gotten the stupid little weapon charms and like a little, you know, couple of skins here and there, that kind of thing, and it's all been real slow drip feed. Like, I'm talking weeks in between when this stuff hits, and that's kind of why I think they said we're ending content support and we're not, you know, adding anything else, is just to finally get our expectations down to the level where they should have been all along. Basically tell people you're ending content support, and that way that we're not, as a community, we're not expecting anything, because they said we're done. So then when something does pop up, we're like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. When it probably, our expectations should have been that way since, I don't know, 6 months after the game released. Whenever it was that it kind of fell off a cliff, that's when they should have said, all right, we're done. That way, when they release stuff, we could have been like, oh, sweet. You know? I guess I shouldn't say 6 months. I guess since November of last year, since whenever the Pacific released, it was like November, December, somewhere. Oh, I think it released in early December, that Pacific update. But after that, be like, hey, we're done. Say you're done if you're DICE. Say you're done after the Pacific update, and then that makes the beginning of 2020 a lot easier on everybody that's a Battlefield 5 fan. Yeah. So the update was just a little back-end thing, nothing super fancy, but I'm hoping it fixed servers, but it sounds like it didn't, just based on what I read on Twitter. So we will see in a little bit on my afternoon stream. So I hope it's fine. Let me take a swig of water on you guys. I kind of wet the whistle there a little bit, and it's kind of a gross expression, right? It sounds kind of gross. Wet the whistle. But let's check the notes. Let's see where we're at. I have in here pre-ordered Cold War. So I guess we should talk about that. I did indeed pre-order Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, longest name ever, the other night. Went ahead and bit the bullet and was like, ooh, I hate to plunk down $60 on a game I have no clue about and haven't played yet. But I'm going to need something new to play. I think I talked about this on the podcast already, but I've got to have something new. Like we just talked about, Battlefield 5 the servers are literally falling apart as the days go on, and I cannot continue to just stream Battlefield 5 for the next year and a half. So we may start hitting Cold War pretty hard, but I did go ahead and pre-order it the other night. Got the Woods Operator pack for Warzone, so that's neat, whatever. Don't really care. I don't buy skins in Warzone, so it's nice to have something different. This is the first time I've had something different. Never purchased a skin, never purchased a Battle Pass. Not going to. Somebody wants to give me one, that's fine. Not going to buy a Battle Pass, though. Just not my style. I don't care. I mean, it's all cosmetic stuff. Thankfully, it's not pay to win. Sometimes, though, right? Like, sometimes some of those guns you get when you pay for the battle pass come with better iron sights. They kind of like this, depending on the skins. That's kind of like, we're teetering on the edge of pay to win there, right? Because take the MP7 for example. I know for a fact there's skins I don't have for the MP7 because I've seen them on other streamers and content creator stuff. I'm like, hey, those iron sights are narrower and easier to see around. How'd you get that? Oh, you paid money to get that. Oh, so like but it's not a better gun. That's what Activision's saying. It's not a better gun. It's just it shoots the same. It's got the same damage, but you can see a little better with it. Yeah, I don't know. It's like it teeters on the edge of pay to win, right? So that's my thoughts on that. Again, not gonna buy a battle pass though. Still not gonna buy a battle pass. Don't care enough. Haven't liked a game enough to do that. So yeah. But Cold War, that's how we got here. Cold War, gonna jump in and play that probably a lot when it comes out. That's probably gonna become the primary focus, and that, or I'm gonna do like afternoon stream Battlefield 5, evening stream Cold War, and then the next day like afternoon stream Cold War, evening stream Battlefield 5, and kind of flip flop them like that is kind of what I'm thinking about doing. Just because for some stupid reason, right? I still want to like grind for that level 500 in Battlefield 5 for some stupid reason, because I've put it seems goofy to me that I've put as much time into Battlefield 5 and I'm not as much time as I have, and I'm not even going to get rank 500. I feel like I want to be ranked 500 in Battlefield 5 for as much time as I've put into it. And also for as much as Battlefield 5 has done for me. Like, I mean, Battlefield 5, as awful as a game as it has been, and as shrouded in, like, disgust and disaster as it's been, it kickstarted my content creation and streamer career. So, like, I mean, I do obviously like Battlefield 5 for what it's enabled me to do. And, I'm still looking forward to progressing even further than what this game's allowed me to do. But, I want to get ranked 500, and I want to give it its due. I like weirdly, still kind of like it for that, even though it is like such a mess. Super love that there's like really loud neighbors outside my house right now. I don't know if they're coming through on the mic, but yeah, that's super fun. I don't know exactly what's happening. They're making a bunch of racket. They got like the jams going outside. Anyways, I'm digressing. Pre-order Cold War, we talked about that. So we did a neat thing on stream actually yesterday, something new that I hadn't tried yet, and I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. We actually did live some gameplay analysis. So what I did was, I've been mucking with my sensitivity like a lot. If you've watched the streams, you've seen it. Like, I've been changing, like every couple of deaths, I'm changing to a new sensitivity. So I decided yesterday, I'm like, it's time. We need to settle on one. I need to pick one. Let's figure out what's going on, and then let's just like nail it down, what's happening, and let's fix it, right? And so I warmed up for about an hour. I played a couple games for about an hour, kind of got loose, kind of got to about where I'm going to be, for the day, essentially. And then I recorded a round on Arras. And we did that for a little while, and then I was like, all right, cool, let's bounce on out. And I quit the server after the game ended. I didn't quit mid-round. I think we went all the way through. And then I opened up my video editor, and we went as a stream, frame by frame, through every single gunfight that I came across, and we really analyzed, like, where did my aim go? Did I overshoot? Did I undershoot? Was I on target? What happened when I ADS'd? All that kind of stuff. We broke it down, play by play, frame by frame, right there on stream, and it was a lot of fun. And we figured out that my sensitivity was actually a little bit high, just a little bit. Like, I tended to overshoot by just a bit my opponent that I was aiming at. And so we actually just dialed it up 1 centimeter, and we landed on 25 centimeters per 360, and then popped back into a game and kind of went off on, I think it was Underground, using, I pretty much just hip fired, so it's I said it on stream. It's a little bit kind of a not 1-to-1 because we were using the Bren ADS quite a bit on the capture video, but yeah, kind of went off a little bit with the EMP right after we dialed it up just 1 centimeter. So I mean that was good, and I mentioned this on my stream too. I think I wonder if a lot of what that is like you almost kind of, by reviewing film, you almost sort of give yourself permission to play well on that sensitivity. It's kind of sometimes what I wonder, some of it is like you dialed it up, like maybe you just hit it, you needed to fix your sensitivity a little bit. But I do think some of it is up here mentally. Like you reviewed the tape, you went through the steps, you followed the process, so you're trusting the process. And when you jump back into the game and you just touch it up just a little bit, you're like, and it's like you're just giving yourself the permission to play well at that sensitivity now. So I don't know. I think that's one of the interesting kind of things to me about FPS games and doing small tweaks and like checking your gameplay and all that kind of stuff is like some of it is actually, you're mechanically fixing some things by altering your sensitivity and better matching what suits you as a player. But then other times, I wonder if, some of it is the mental aspect about just like, okay, I can do this now because I believe I can do this because I went through the process. So I think that's a really, really interesting aspect there. The 25 centimeters for 360, we actually did it again on the late stream last night because I hadn't sniped with the 25. So I went in and started sniping at the beginning of the late stream last night, and it was an absolute disaster. I mean, it was bad. I was like wasn't going positive. I was getting really bad KDs. Like I was tilting my face off. I was like, so tilted because I was just playing horribly. I was not having fun because I was playing bad. I don't obviously have fun when I play bad. And so we did it again. We did another study, but this time just breaking down with snipers. Recorded a round on Fiel and went in and did the same thing frame by frame. Let's check it out. Let's see what happened. And I was actually really surprised by the results from the sniper test. The sniper review tape essentially showed that I was actually really, really close to making a lot of the shots. There was only, a handful of like really obviously huge misses that I just didn't aim well on. But for the ones where I was looking at the guy, I was on, checking everything out, and I ended up just being like, I would put my crosshair like, I'm talking like inches around their head. Like it was like right there. And a lot of times we noticed in the film study that I was shooting we're talking milliseconds too late, right? Like the crosshair was there. It happened so many times when we were reviewing last night. I'd be coming across, click, 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 frame by frame, and then you would see, all right, crosshair, it's centered right over the dude's head. Here's where you take the shot. But I wouldn't, and then click, 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 like 3 frames, and then that's when I would take the shot. So, how fast does 3 frames go and, whatever frames per second I was playing at the time? It's quick. We're talking like, fractions of seconds here, milliseconds, that I just have to time the shot a little better. And so after we did that film study, I jumped back into a game, and the first one didn't go so good. It was a late round join, so it wasn't great. But we hit a round on, I don't remember which map it was, but like, it was Aerodrome. We did an Aerodrome defense on Breakthrough, and I just, I decided the round before that, after we'd done the film study, like, okay, so a lot of my shots are late. Let's go in here and just full send this, basically just past the point of no scoping people. You know how when you like no scope or like you quick scope, you essentially just kind of you ADS real quick and pop. I'm talking like just a fraction of a second longer than that is what I was trying to do. Like, let's just full send this and let me trust my aim a little bit. So that's what I did. And, I didn't have a phenomenal game, but 28 and 10, a 2.8 KD, which was better than, I'm talking, I was going like before when I was like super tilted, before we did the film study, I was doing like a 14, 14, 21, 28, some stuff like that, like horrible KDs. I was dying so much, couldn't focus, and then it's just like you kind of figured out what I needed to do, and I went in there and did it. But a lot of it, I think, was the mental aspect again. Like, I did the film study. I'm basically allowing myself to do these goofy, like, quick shots and let's see what happens. And I was just more comfortable. I was pulling shots off, and it worked a lot better. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm gonna settle on this 25 centimeters for 360 for at least a week. I think I'm gonna like kind of sit here on this one, play with it, practice with it, and kind of see what kind of feeds we can rack up, see if I can get any clips. That's usually a pretty good indicator to me if I'm playing well at that sensitivity, if I'm being able to hit that Alt F10 on my computer and collect the last minute and a half of gameplay. If I'm picking up clips, then I know it's pretty good. If I'm not, then it's like, okay, we need to, let's figure out what's going on. So I think we're going to stick with this sensitivity for a little while, just so I can really kind of practice with it and hone in on it, and then we can make small adjustments from here. But I think 25 for now is a pretty good number. So I'm excited to practice with it a little more today on stream and see what happens. Kind of in the realm of sensitivity and aim and all of that, I made a move yesterday also and purchased a new mouse mat. So it hasn't shipped yet, apparently. I've been checking my email to see if it's going to ship yet. It's probably going to be a couple weeks before it gets here, I'm assuming. Probably like 2, which sucks. But, I moved on my setup to the top of the desk. I think I talked about that last time or 2 times ago, whenever. But my setup's now on top of my desk, and I've got this little tiny mouse mat, which I believe I've shown on stream before. It's like the size. It's like a 10 by 11 or something. I mean, it's smaller than a sheet of printer paper. It's about the size of a sheet of printer paper, I guess. And it's just a little small, and we're lowering sensitivity, and I'm needing more surface area to basically do these sweeping arcs for my aim. So I was like, I need to get a larger mouse mat, and went into a little shopping, and I had it between the SteelSeries QCK and the Zowie GSR. And ended up going with the Zowie GSR once I finally found that they were in stock on BenQ's website. Thank goodness, because I couldn't find it anywhere else. I went with that one because I read that it's got a little bit more friction. Still feels good, but it's like a little bit more of a control pad. And that's just, I know myself. I know that I tend to over aim or get a little spastic. So I think a mouse pad that will kind of grant me a little more friction, kind of get me to calm down a little bit and control a little bit more, I think it's going to end up being pretty good, I think. If it's not, that's fine. I had to try it out, and but I needed something bigger, and so this is kind of the route I'm going. So I'm excited to try it out. I'm interested to see what it's going to do to the sensitivity studies that we just did yesterday. Obviously changing my mouse surface, it may impact the sensitivity. I may need to go, up a little bit to mitigate the friction or something, or, maybe go down to kind of like ride with the friction a little more. We'll see, but I won't know for a few more days until that gets here. But I'm excited. I'll show it off on stream. We'll talk about it when it happens, and then we'll kick it off and see kind of what it does to the gameplay. But yeah, it's a little bit of a pricey. I didn't want to spend the money on the Zowie. I really didn't. And just like I didn't want to spend the money on Call of Duty Black Ops because, I don't like spending money. But at the same time, it's like I'm really trying to, up the gameplay and up the streams and make them just bangers to watch just because of good gameplay. Like, that's where I want to get to. And so if I need to invest a little bit into a new game to play on stream to kind of bring some people in, and if I need to invest a little bit into a little bit better equipment, for around me, I'm down for that. Like, I'm putting it back in so that I can, just up the quality of all my stuff for you guys, essentially. I want to show off good gameplay. I want to talk about how to get to good gameplay and go through my process and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it is for you guys out there. The the supporters and the fans of the podcast and the streams and all that stuff. So that's why I'm putting money into it, is so I can continue to provide stuff to you guys. Speaking of, I wanted to talk about this. This is the last thing in my notes here, and we'll wrap up the podcast on this lovely note, I guess. Speaking of not playing well, I actually went on tilt on stream the other day. Gameplay-wise, I didn't go off on the guy or anything, but there was a guy popped in my chat, and if he listens to the podcast, sorry about you. I did give you permission, but he basically gets in my chat and he says, "Hey man, can I give you my honest opinion?" And I was like, oh boy, here we go. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm like, here we go. What is this going to be? And I was like, yeah, sure. Go ahead, man. Give me your honest opinion. And he did. And he said, honestly, dude, you're a shit sniper. And I was like, all right. Yeah. I mean, I shot straight with him. I was like, I've never claimed to be a good sniper. Anytime I'm using a sniper rifle, can't talk. Anytime I'm using a sniper rifle, or really playing in general, I'm practicing, because I'm not the best of the best right now, but I'm looking to always improve. And so if you get on there on my stream at any particular time, you may see and are likely to see some crap gameplay, because I'm usually practicing a new sensitivity or trying out a new, grip technique, or a new way of kind of positioning myself in my chair, or all kinds of different things, or using a new weapon, a new play style, that kind of thing. I'm always switching things up to experiment and just kind of get experience at this moment. So, he gets on there and tells me I'm a shit sniper, and I just kept telling myself, this shouldn't bother me, but it just was confirming things that I was already telling myself, because like I've said on stream, and I kind of was talking about earlier, I just haven't been satisfied with my sniper gameplay in a long time. So for a guy to get on there and just basically confirm, yeah, dude, you're messing up, man. It's not good. It just kind of put me on tilt. It just made me more mad, because I was like, man, I have got to get this sniping figured out. Because a couple months ago, I was hitting headshots like crazy, and now I can't. I can't figure out what's going on, I think we got a little closer last night with that study, but I don't know. We're going to keep playing with it, and we're going to keep practicing, and there's going to be bad sniper gameplay. That guy who said I was a shit sniper, it's going to happen. Sorry. And I know I gave you permission to give your honest opinion, so I'm not faulting you for that. But next time, just understand, he was new to the stream, but just understand that's what's happening, and I'll do a better job of iterating that probably any future times it happens. Hopefully it doesn't happen just a lot. Most people that have those kind of comments keep them to themselves, but some people are just out there to kind of tear people down. So that's just nothing we can get around. It is what it is, and I've got to do better myself to try and not get super tilted on when people are kind of condescending or rude or whatever, because I know what I'm doing, so and they don't, and I shouldn't let it bother me. Whatever their opinions are, that's their business. So, and I encourage the rest of y'all out there to keep that in mind as well. There are certain times when certain people's opinions, you want to heed those, but very typically you don't want to put too much stock in other people's opinions. Focus on your own and keeping your own healthy and doing your own thing, and just keep grinding. And that's going to be the key to success. You always hear people say ignore the haters, and it's true. Take feedback for sure. Don't just immediately no, that to any kind of you have to read criticism, because sometimes there's criticism that's constructive, and really any criticism can be constructive if you kind of, basically just don't take it, and the wrong way. Sometimes don't ignore it, but you just have, there's a line. I don't really know how to say what I'm trying to say, but there is a line for criticism on certain criticism. Certain criticism, obviously, you can just discard. It's not a big deal. It's people's opinion, or people that have never been around. That kind of stuff. They don't know anything that's going on. People that have been around you a little bit more, or kind of those people, you can listen to their feedback a little more and see kind of where they're coming from. But feedback is good. I mean, even negative feedback is good because it kind of can tell you what to improve on, or like kind of the things that people are keying in on as far as like what your content is doing and that kind of stuff. But anyways, I guess that's going to about wrap this one up. I went longer than I thought I was going to. Hit 40 minutes here, so I actually ran the ad break a little early, but that's fine. Yeah, I gotta jump out of here though and get ready for my stream. So today we talked about, what did we talk about? Back-end Battlefield 5 maintenance, Xbox buying the Bethesda studio, pre-ordering Cold War, sensitivity stuff, mouse mats, haters in the stream, all that kind of good stuff. So that's what we, just to give you all a reminder what we went through. The stream schedule right now is 2:30 p.m. CST to 5:30 p.m. CST. That's the early stream, the afternoon stream, and then the evening stream kicks off at 9 p.m. CST and goes to 1 a.m. CST. So that is the current stream schedule. We're doing 2-a-days. Really digging the support in both of them. The numbers are picking up, so I think people are starting to realize kind of when I'm online in those two separate time slots. So that's great. I have the YouTube channel and Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. I'm on all the different social platforms. So go ahead and check those out if you've made it here to the end of the episode. See what I've got going on. I mean, I put up an Instagram post every day. I usually tweet every single day. And I put up TikToks here and there. That one's kind of fallen by the wayside, but I am on there. If we start getting some numbers popping in from other places, like, you guys see the podcast or watch the streams or whatever and head on over to TikTok, I'll be like, okay, we got people coming in. So I do need to work on growth over there. But anyways, I'm going to go get ready for my stream. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take it easy. Goodbye.